At the heart of the Intra-African Trade Fair here in Algiers, we are honored and privileged to welcome His Excellency Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, one of Africa's most respected voices. His Excellency, former President of Nigeria and Chairman of the Iatf Advisory Council. He joins us exclusively on R24 News to share his insights on Africa's integration, unity, and the paths towards the 2063 agenda. Thank you for joining us, Baba.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, you have long been one of the key advocates of continental integration through your participation in several initiatives towards this goal. Based on your rich journey in the struggle for a united Africa, how do you assess the outcomes of this fourth edition of the Intra-African Trade Fair?
Well, as you rightly said, effort at integrating Africa has been not an effort only of today. Even when we got independence, or before independence, there was, in 1945, and in Manchester, in England, a meeting of some African leaders from the Caribbean, from the continent of Africa, and what they were talking about is independence and unity of Africa. As far back as that time, and of course, immediately after the Second World War, the fervor for independence and unity of Africa grew. And when in the 1960s, African countries started getting independence, one of the things that the founding fathers at independence took seriously is how to bring Africa countries together. And that's what led to OAU in 1963. So for Pan-African conference in 1945 in Manchester to OAU establishment in 1963, and then the effort was to not only to establish a unity, but to complete the decolonization of Africa. And that was achieved because you could not bring Africa together if half of Africa is independent and half is not independent. So with the total liberation of Africa at the turn of the century, 1999 to 2000, there was a new requirement, a new desire, and the desire is now integration. Not just integration politically, which we now realize will take longer time than even it was envisaged at the point of independence, but economic integration. Because we have the number in totality of our population in Africa, but with 54 countries, we have the number of almost as China has, but one country. You have the number almost as India has, but one country. We have 54 countries. So we believe that what we should do is go for economic integration. Not make use of our number collectively. Do things that we can do together. Look inward and be able to come like a broom together so that nobody will take us piece by piece and weaken us. And that was what led to AU. AU now was not only talking of political, talking of more of economic. And of course, when Afreximbank Bank decided to go back to even what the founding fathers in 1963 wanted, they wanted a trade fair for Africa, where Africa will know what it produces, where Africa will use what it produces, where Africa will collectively stand together and have a voice that will be heard by the rest of the world, where Africa will have division of labor that will be given to Africa, that will mean that Africa shares in labor, in decision-making as the rest of the world, where Africa's resources will be utilized first for Africa and secondly for the rest of the world. And that we cannot do unless we know what we have, unless we prepare ourselves mentally, physically, educationally, psychologically for the world that we live in. We need to know that world. And we need to know what we have. And that is why we are here. Why we now have Intra-Africa Trade Fair. This is the 4th edition. And this one, by all indication, by tomorrow, you will be able to give the figures.
Mm-hmm.
But by all indication, it has been a great success. A month ago, when I came here, I was skeptical. I was apprehensive. But the president of the People Democratic Republic of Algeria said to me, "Don't worry, it will be done." And the president made it to be done. He put in ministers, he put in commissioners, he put in a team that really make this a near miracle. Even when I arrived a day before the opening, this place that we are using now for this interview was not done. And I was still saying, oh, are we going to have it? By the all night they worked, and by the following morning, for the when the opening was taking place, everything had been done.
Everything was ready.
The president promised, and the president delivered. I will be ever grateful to the president and the people of this country and the team, particularly that the president did to us. So, in terms of performance, 48 countries have pavilions. 2 other countries were represented from Africa. We have, for the first time, 4 prime ministers from the Caribbean coming to participate, and Caribbean countries having pavilion. We have over 11 countries outside Africa. And, well, as I said, by tomorrow, we will know how many people have visited and all that.
final note.
And how much deals have taken place. But from what I have heard or what I have been, the report I've been getting, this will surpass anything that had taken place before. That was the idea of the president when we talk about my fears about a month ago, and he said he will want it to be the largest and the best. And so far, it's looking like the largest and the best. So we are grateful to everybody, the sponsors, the African Bank, the African Union Commission, the African Continental
Free trade area.
Free Trade Secretariat, our organizers, everybody, but particularly the Algerian team that had worked tirelessly, seamlessly to work with us for harmonious delivery or harmonious success of this event.
Of this edition. Chief Obasanjo, Algeria, Nigeria, and South Africa form a strong continental axis in driving joint African action. What role do these countries play in effectively achieving the African Union's Agenda 2063?
So you are right. There was a time when the three countries you mentioned, Nigeria, South Africa, and Algeria, when they came together to decide on something and they agreed, they carried the rest of Africa along with them. What made that possible was the leadership of the three countries at that particular time. Their orientation, their belief in Pan-Africanism, their belief in unity, and they are working for it. Not just believing in it, they are working for it. And for us to get NEPAD, we have to work together. We have to carry the rest of Africa along with us. And that was what we did. So where there's will, as they say, political will, there must also be political action. And then when you have political will, taken along with political action, you will have success. There's no reason why we in Africa, with what we have got, not coming together. And the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is one example. Within 1 year of that agreement, then the free trade area has got a secretariat. And today, African Bank, Africa Free Trade, Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Africa AU Commission, working together to bring about what we are doing now. And we now know more of ourselves. You need information. What does Algeria produce that Nigeria will need? What does Nigeria produce that Algeria will need? Now, that information was not there. But now when you come here, you now meet, you get information, you make contact, and
You make it happen.
feel very much at home. And you can then say, yes, I want this that I can get from Algeria. I want this that I can get from Ghana. I want this that I can get from Malawi or from Uganda. It's beautiful. And we should continue to build on it.
In his opening address at the 4th Inter-African Trade Fair, the Algerian president, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, highlighted several facts regarding the limited influence of the continent in shaping the global economic decision-making. What mechanisms and pathways are available to overcome this situation today?
Well, the mechanism really is leadership. And our leaders have started showing that. We'll talk about Nigeria, Algeria, and South Africa. We'll talk about Africa continental free trade area. We talk about intra-African trade fair. All these are pointing in one direction of, yes, we have the population. We need the unity of purpose. We need the understanding of the world that we live in, and we need to manage our own internal affairs. We must put our own house in order, each of our country. One of the things that we haven't been doing too well is managing diversity. African countries must manage diversity so that with management of diversity, we do not have conflict. We have inclusivity. We have everybody feeling that he has a stake. And then when you have peace and security and stability in our individual countries, we can come together and have collective peace, collective security, collective shared prosperity, common security and shared prosperity. Whatever we have on the continent of Africa, let it be first to serve the purpose of Africa. And, of course, we are not living in isolation in the world, but let Africa be the major beneficiary, and outsider can share. But what is happening from slave to slavery to slave trade to colonialism to neocolonialism is that Africa have not benefited. If anything, outsiders have exploited Africa. Outsiders have oppressed Africa. Outsiders have cheated Africa. Now, let us say to ourselves, yes, we are the architect of our own destiny, and we are not going to leave out or outsource our development. Our togetherness, our unity is very important as the foundation to achieve what we need to achieve, which is to make Africa the continent of the 21st century.
To make Africa the continent of the 21st century. Thank you very much for your insights and for your time. And thank you for this exclusive discussion with Al24 News. Thank you very much. And thank you, dear viewers, for following this interview on Al24 News. And see you in the next ones.